Have you ever had someone use a business speak or explained a term to you with a language that is difficult for you to understand? You're not alone. But do you know that there's a way you can learn new concepts, shore up knowledge gaps, recall faster, supercharge your learning, and become smarter? It's the Feynman technique. The Feynman technique was developed by Richard Feynman, who's an author, a philosopher, an intellectual, and no ordinary genius. Oh, and of course, he was also a Nobel Prize-winning physicist whose technique is the best approach to learning new things. Learning and understanding don't just happen from skimming or scanning through a book or by recalling enough to ace an exam or test. It takes more than that. If you are looking for how to understand everything, the Feynman technique is a sure bet. But before that, you should first know what understanding, according to Richard Feynman, is. He said that the understanding of a particular piece of information is when that information is learned and can be explained and used in various ways and situations. Sounds obvious, right? It buttresses the fact that knowledge learned is a tool to be used for the rest of your life, and not a factoid that is useless as it is meaningless. Is it important to understand everything? Yes, because the more things you learn and understand, the fewer surprises you get. And since new things we come across are in a way related to the things we have crossed before. Ultimately, the point of learning is to understand, to avoid the hurt and shame that comes from being hit by unexpected events. Is it possible to understand everything? Yes, with the help of the Feynman technique, which helps you to turn information into knowledge that is readily accessible when needed. What is the Feynman technique? Basically, the Feynman technique is a mental model used to learn and to fully understand any topic. Aside from winning a Nobel Prize for his work on quantum electrodynamics, he was also known for his ability to explain the most complex terms or concepts in a way even a child could understand. And that ability is the foundation of the Feynman techniques. Richard Feynman regarded himself humbly as an ordinary man who studied a lot and efficiently, even with all his accomplishments. This means that anyone can do the same. With enough effort and the right method, you can learn anything and understand everything. The technique has 4 steps. Before going to them, let's look at the uses of the Feynman technique. Uses of the Feynman technique. The technique helps in studying for an exam or a test and with learning new things. It can be easily adapted to pursuing works that have depth. It also helps individuals who find writing a challenge, as it shows them how to commit knowledge to a sheet of paper and use speech to deliver information across. Furthermore, it helps in the learning and teaching of new concepts, topics, or subjects, and also to identify and close the gaps in your current knowledge. Also, it helps to recall information and prevents them from being lost. If you want to know how to understand everything using the Feynman technique, follow these simple steps. Step 1. Choose and write down a concept or subject. Choosing the topic, concept, or subject you want to learn or understand is the first step. You can do this by opening up a fresh page in your notebook and writing it out at the top of the page. Doing this will not just give you clarity of the task ahead, but will also give you focus to stay on track. Step 2. Teach and explain it to a child. If you can explain or teach the chosen topic to a child, you are good to go. You can skip to the next step, but if not, you need to write down everything you know about the topic or concept below the topic. Write them in a way that is plain and simple and can be understood by anyone, especially children. Always make sure to avoid jargon, big words, and fluffy business speak, as these cripple the process of transferring knowledge. While doing this, keep brevity in mind. Write these notes as a business pitch for an elevator ride. Remember, children have short attention spans, and if you have difficulties doing this, don't fret, there's room for improvement. Step 3. Review and identify knowledge gaps. This is the most important step in this technique. While doing the second step, you will discover that you have quite a reasonable amount of knowledge in a concept, and you'll also discover the gaps. This technique also helps you to know what you know and what you don't. When you have identified the gaps and weaknesses, go back to the source material. Don't waste time on the whole thing. Rereading your weakness is more efficient. Rereading the whole material leads to familiarity, which creates an illusion of knowledge, which is not the same thing as understanding. Step 4. Organize, simplify, and tell a story. The final step in the Feynman technique. Start by organizing what you have learned into a new teaching, and when delivering your presentation, do it with a fuller understanding and in a simpler way. Avoid restating the words from the source material, use analogies, simpler sentences, and stay away from the technical jargon. Rather, concentrate on the fundamentals of the topic. Build your knowledge from that point outward. Piece your notes together and spin a story with a concise explanation from it. A stumble indicates an incomplete thought. If it happens, go back to step 3. Benefits of the Feynman technique. These include and are not limited to a fuller understanding of concepts, knowledge of concepts' fundamentals, the ability to store information in long-term memory, an increase in study efficiency, critical thinking and problem-solving skills, and honing your teaching, communication, and presentation skills. Why the Feynman technique works. The Feynman technique implies that to learn something, you have to be exposed to it, digest information about it, synthesize that information, and store it. And it works because you're not just passively reading the information, you're generating, retrieving, deeply understanding, pointing out deficiency, and owning the knowledge from that information because you engage with it. In the world today, knowledge is valuable because the more you know and understand, the less you are surprised by the unexpected, and the more ground you have to create and capitalize on available opportunities. The Feynman technique is a great way to develop your understanding, and once you do, knowledge becomes a powerful tool always at your disposal. Just so you know, this technique is the easiest, simplest, and most effective method of learning, understanding, and knowledge retention. It's true, Richard Feynman used this technique to help him understand physics. You can use it to understand everything. Do not hesitate to drop your suggestions and opinions in the comment sections. Bye!